Hi there, it's Betty back from the Vibank Library. Today we're going to talk a little more about doing some easy, quick, nutritional cooking in the kitchen. In the past, what I used to do what I would call it murder in the kitchen. I used to take a potato, peel them alive, drown them in water, put them on high heat, cook the heck out of them, and just check to see if it was ready. Go take a fork and stab them to death, and then I would take the potatoes off the stove and drain it. Today we're going to show you how I've learned in the last 20 years how to cook my potatoes properly. What I have done is I haven't peeled the potatoes. You can peel them doing this way, but I prefer to leave the peels on because there's lots of nutrition in the peel. So what I've done is I've left the peel on, just cut them in uniform pieces so they all cook at the same time together, so they're all done at the same time. I take this much water, pour it over top. Now I've used a small pot because I'm just cooking for 2 people. But if you were cooking for 8 or 10, you'd use a larger pot, and you always take the size of pot or container that you're going to fill the most. So that's almost full. So now I'm going to just give it a good shake. Okay. And then I'm going to take that water and drain it back off. Now I just want to show you, just in that little bit of cold water rinse, how much nutrition has come out of those potatoes. You can see there's like a starch, whatever. So what I'm going to do now, I just rinse it off like that. That's what I usually do, just to take a bit of the starch off so it doesn't stick to the pan. And then I just simply take 4 tablespoons of water, put it on medium heat, and when the temp tone goes off, just like a little whistle lets me know to turn it to low or off, and that's what I'll do. Now, if you don't have a 7-ply bottom pan, you don't have to have 7 plies on the bottom for it not to burn. If you have a good 5-ply bottom will work too, and you don't have to have the temp tone on top, just a regular good lid that will seal it when you're cooking. So what I'm doing here now is I put enough water in here to create some vapor, so when it's heating up, and when it comes to just below the boiling point, but it doesn't get totally to the boiling point, the temp tone will go off, letting me know that it's time to turn the heat down so that it doesn't overcook or cook too high a temperature. And then I'll go there and turn the heat off or down to low, whatever, depending on which vegetable you're cooking, and to continue cooking it from there. So what I'm doing is I'm cooking it in a vacuum from that point on, very low heat and with very little water. Whenever we have a lot of water and we have to drain it off afterwards, we're losing a lot of nutrition from our vegetables. So now I'm going to go over to the stove and I'm going to turn it on to medium heat with the valve open. About a 7 on my stove. Okay. Now what I'm doing here is I've got a container of broccoli and cauliflower. And what I'm going to do here is the same thing. I'm going to add 4 tablespoons of water, because these vegetables are from the supermarket and they're not as fresh as if you bought them, or I should pick them from the garden. If you pick them from the garden, I only use a couple tablespoons. So I'm using 4 tablespoons like that, giving it a good shake. It's only the potatoes that I rinsed off afterwards. Okay, so like this, and the same thing, put it on the stove with the valve on open on medium heat. It's about 7 minutes, and the temp tone has come off to a tone, so it lets me know to turn it off or down to low. So what I'm going to do now is go like this, close the valve up, and turn the heat down to low. I'll leave it set at that for a few minutes, and then just put on low for a few minutes, and then turn it off. Basically, you cook the potatoes about 10 minutes on low once you set them back on, because I have the solid element. I don't put them right away because the element's too hot. The same with gas would be easier, because when you have gas stove, the heat goes off right away or down to low right away. What I'm doing right now is I'm heating up a frying pan to do some steak in. And what I do is I've heated up on medium-high heat, and I'm going to take some water here. And you can see when it does that, it's not quite ready yet, but if I leave it for a few more seconds, when I splash it with water, it'd be like a ball bearing rolling around in there, and that's telling me that it's the right temperature to put my meat in. And the reason I'm doing that is I'm not adding any oil to the pan when I'm browning my meat, okay? So you can do that with roasts or pork chops or steak or whatever you're doing. Okay, I'm going to try it again just to let you know. Not quite yet. You'll see there's like little ball bearings rolling around in there. Okay, that tells me that pan is hot enough. So now what I'm going to do, meat, and put it in there. And as soon as you put it down, it'll be stuck. If you wanted to move it, it wouldn't move right now. So I have to wait till it's nice and brown, and then I can turn it. And press it down good and hard so that it browns on that side. And now it'll probably take 2 or 3 minutes until that's brown, and then I'll just turn it over. Okay, so now what's happened is as you can see, my meat's getting brown, and as it gets brown, it releases. So I can just simply take a tongue like this and take it and turn it over. And I haven't seasoned it first, so now after I've turned it over and it's nice and brown, at this point now I will put my seasonings on, put the lid on after it's browned a bit on the other side, put the lid on after I put the seasonings on, and let it cook on low for a little while, just to soften the meat. If you want it well done like we do. If you want it rare, you take it off quicker, of course. That's just a matter of preference. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some of this steak seasoning on. And here's my other tone has just come to a tone. It's my cauliflower. So I'm going to take it off, close the valve, turn the heat to low, and put it back on. So here's our broccoli and cauliflower. Now I've cooked this whole meal in about 15 minutes from start to scratch. And we're going to show you what the cauliflower looks like in the broccoli right off the bat. That's what it looks like. It's actually a little bit overdone already. It could have been taken off a few minutes sooner. But not really, it's pretty good. So here's our vegetables on a plate, what they'll look like. Here's the potatoes. And you can see the potatoes are still nice and firm, but soft to the touch if you want to eat them, nice and soft. You could add a little butter if you wanted to add butter, or you don't have to. Season however you like. And here's my steak. Well, that's how much moisture that's come out. You can even make a gravy with that if you wanted to. I don't think I'll bother tonight, but here's my steak that we just cooked for about, you saw when we put it on, same time as the, you can see that's actually well done. Now most people would not want it well done, so you probably want to have it 2 or 3 minutes at the most on each side. You can see that's well done. And if I eat it, it'll probably be nice and soft. Thanks for visiting Vibank Library. Come back again. See you soon. Have a good week.